Hello guys, my name is Alberto, aka Destroyer 48, aka Subscribe for Food. Haha. Um, in this video, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about WCW. I'm gonna talk about where this that I'm gonna get. I need pro wrestling fans. You guys are in demand to come talk in my live streams, and we'll talk about WCW. We'll talk about anything y'all want. AEW, WWE, past stuff. I am also looking for older gentlemen around, that grew up with NWA or WCW. You guys are mainly probably from the South. Anybody from the North too that would see that, but mainly that South stuff. Yeah, we're seeing Dusty Rhodes and the Road Wars and all that. I already did a video on the NWA. We'll talk about that. Now we're gonna talk about WCW. How we will discuss. Um, we'll just discuss about WCW. I'm looking for fans. It would be nice to get some fans that actually went to live events. I went to a couple myself. I went to one in Florida and went to one here in Texas. Um, so I'm gonna go over WCW now. NWA Jim Crockett promotions are gonna it's gonna fold. It's gonna transition. Flair's there, Sting's there. I think Road Wars are gonna leave. The Steiners are gonna be created. Uh, I think Rick Steiner was in NWA in the transition. You see, what happens was Mid South folded. Cow, Cowboy Bill Watts, his company folded. So a lot of those, it's kind of like Jim Crockett Promotions bottom out, and a lot of wrestlers from Mid South are gonna go to NWA. I think some went to WWE, like the Million Dollar Man. I believe Mid South was from Million Dollar Man was from Mid South. I believe Dr. Dusty Williams came up from there. Sting, to name a few. The Iron Sheik is gonna be around there in that transition. He doesn't do much. He loses matches. So who will rise from the ashes? The ashes of the old NWA Jim Crockett Promotions. I think the Road Warriors took off to WWE. But we're gonna have the Midnight Express still there. According to Jim Cornette, they want it out. Um, Rock and Roll Express are not there. Steiner's run for the ashes. Samoan SWAT team are rising. Doom are rising. I believe the Skyscrapers, that little cup and coffee there, were there, transitioning to WCW. You're gonna have. I'll talk about around this time. I'm gonna mention some matches. Yeah, the Skyscrapers. I saw one time they were wrestling the Dynamic Dudes. Oh, Dynamic Dudes. Skyscrapers. I heard they wrestled Midnight Express and Jim Cornette. Skyscrapers are gonna have a feud with the Road Warriors before Road Warriors leave. The Steiners gonna arise. The Steiners get to wrestle the Road Warriors and they defeat the Road Warriors at Stargate Future Shock. Lex Luger is arising too as a star. Dusty's on his way out. I think Dusty got fired. Sting is there. He's gonna become a big star. Sting is gonna wrestle in the first Clash of Champions versus Ric Flair. I mean, I believe they wrestled before, but this time it was a big deal. They're gonna go to an hour draw. Sting has a Ric Flair to Scorpion Deathlock in that match, and time runs out. You're gonna have TV stars there. Jason Hervey was from the Wonder Years. I don't. There's a girl that comes out in that match with Sting and Flair. I think she's from the Wonder Years too. Eddie Haskell from the Leave It to Beather comes out, but he's older. Um, Doctor Death is getting momentum. The Varsity Club, I think the Varsity Club was part of NWA transitioning to WCW. Varsity Club has Kevin Sullivan, Doctor Death, Steve Williams, Mike Rotunda. I think they get rid of Rick Steiner. Um, I know the Varsity Club. I saw a match with Kevin Sullivan and Doctor Death versus the Road Warriors. I think the Road Warriors won that match. There's a lot of things going on, and then the Horsemen disbanded because Arn and Tully took off. Uh, I think Oli was in the back office. Ric Flair, they did a stupid angle where he was gonna be managed by Hiro Matsuda, which had nothing to do with it, like totally lame. Um, I think Flair starts feuding with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat this time. Um, then you're gonna have Doom. Doom comes in. Rock and Roll comes back. New Freebirds with Jimmy Jam Garvin and Michael Hayes. They're wrestling. It's having a good time. At one time they're bringing Bad Street, which is really Brad Armstrong under the mask. Bad Street was awesome. He won a lot of matches. He didn't lose that much. That's what I remember. The Southern Boys, the Patriots. I remember the U.S. Tag Champions, Firebreaker Chip, and I forgot the name of the guy. They should have never got rid of the U.S. Tag titles. That was a very competitive. It was really cool. Who's still Ric Flair is still champion around a lot of those times, but he loses his belt finally to Sting. Lex Luger then becomes champion. I think Lex Luger defeats the Great Muta, and I think Barry Windham also defeats the Great Muta when it's his turn. Lex Luger squashes Great Muta fast, so I did not like that because Great Muta was my favorite wrestler of all time. You're gonna have Ron Simmons. He faces Lex Luger for the belt. But I think Ron Simmons he ends up pinning Big Van Vader. Big Van Vader defeats Sting for the belt. They trade the belts, and one time Sting beats Big Van Vader for the belt. Ric Flair faces Big Van Vader, and Flair defeats Big Van Vader for the belt. Um, Harlem Heat comes. Well, first of all, Doom was wrestling. Doom has wrestled the Horsemen too. They had wrestled Barry Windham and Arn Anderson. So it was heel versus heel. They're both bad guy teams. So Horsemen versus Doom. I think Doom and Freebirds they have some matches. And I think at one point the Southern Boys win the U.S. titles, tag titles. There's a lot. There's a lot of TV champions around time. Stunning Steve Austin, aka Stone Cold Steve Austin, won the belt. I think Steamboat wins the TV title as well. And Harlem Heat, man, that was like one of the best teams that came into WCW. Then you have the Patriots, and then you have the new Horsemen with Paul Roma and Arn Anderson. The Hollywood Blondes, man, it's like probably my second favorite tag team of all time. Uh, I'm thinking maybe to put Harlem Heat my second favorite tag team, and then the Hollywood Blondes. It's only to be fair. The Harlem Heat is way bigger than the Hollywood Blondes. That would have been a good match, though. I think the Hollywood Blondes would have to cheat a lot to beat the Harlem Heat, or even have a chance. You got the Patriots. The Patriot and Marcus Bagwell, that was a team. And then it was Marcus Bagwell and I forgot his name, but they were the American Males. They beat Harlem Heat one time. Um, at one point, it was Big Van Vader and Sid Vicious versus Sting and the British Bulldog. Wow. I mean, there's a whole bunch of matches, man. A lot of them are good. The match I didn't get to see, I was trying to steal cable. I couldn't see anything I could hear. Was Ron Simmons versus Dr. Death Steve Williams. Wow. I'm gonna look and see if I can find that match. There are Barbarians there, Regal's there, Lord Regal turns into Lord Steven Regal, a from a British guy, Lord Steven Regal. I mean Steven Regal. He goes into a cocky guy, Lord Steven Regal, and I think his valet is Sir William or something like that. And Lord Steven Regal is my second best wrestler of all time. Really tough guy. I mean, it's a lot, man. Sting versus Rick Rude. Going even further back, Sting versus Muda. I don't know who Sting beat for the title. Probably Mike Rotunda, maybe. I don't know. But the Great Muda beat Sting in, I think, a controversial style. I gotta see the match again. And then Muda, the Great Muda, loses his TV belt to Arn Anderson with via DDT 1-2-3. But the DDT and Great Muda, that was it. Arn Anderson trades the belts with Z-Man. There's also, I don't know if I mentioned, Z-Man and Brian Pillman versus the Midnight Express. They trade the belts. I think Brian Pillman Z-Man beat the Midnight Express for the U.S. Tag belts once, and then Midnight Express beats them back for the U.S. belts again. Gets them back, but gets their titles back. I remember Dr. Death came one time in a Clash of the Champions with a gimmick. He came with a Dr. Death. He comes in an ambulance. One of the main things I remember, the Cole Twins wrestling Harlem Heat. And then you got Colonel Rob Parker comes in the scene. He splits up the Hollywood Blondes, where Pillman and Austin, they separated to wrestle each other. Then Colonel Rob Parker comes up with a stud stable. He has Ming as a bodyguard or thing, and then he has Bunkhouse Buck, Dick Slater, one of the main ones. Terry Funk at one time. Then we're gonna switch where we're gonna go have Nitro, NWO. Lex Luger at lefty comes in a return, like one of the first things for Nitro. It's at the Mall of America somewhere. Dushin Thunder Liger comes from Japan, wrestles Brian Pillman. I think he may have beaten Pillman for the belt at one time. Brad Armstrong also gets the light heavyweight championship. Yeah, Pillman was light heavyweight championship, and I think Jushin Thunder Liger takes the belt away from him. I don't know if there's Sting versus Flair in that one. Sting and Flair are going to wrestle a lot. Then at one point, Sting doesn't trust Flair, and Flair asks Sting for help because Flair was supposedly in a feud with Arn Anderson and Pillman. Oh wow, the War Games Fall Brawl. You got Flair versus Arn Anderson for the first time. I really like that match, but Pillman interferes, and they got Arn Anderson to win. Pillman throws a boot to Flair's face, interference, and then Arn Anderson gets Flair with a double DDT, and Arn Anderson actually pins Ric Flair. Wow. And when Flair asked Sting, "Hey, can you be my partner?" Sting said, "If you've swerved me once, I'm gonna leave you for dead." The match does happen, and Flair does swerve Sting during the Pillman and versus Pillman and Arn Anderson. And Sting releases hell on Ric Flair next time he gets his hands on him, because Ric Flair does swerve and takes his back on him. Arn Anderson pins Hulk Hogan. Wow, I really like that. And then soon we're gonna get into NWO era. The Giants there wasn't the Legion. I'm gonna say Legion of Doom. The Dungeon of Doom. They were there before NWO came. They had like the Zodiac, which was Brutus the Barber Beefcake. They had like at one time Kamala. They had the Shark, which is formerly known as Earthquake. Who else? I didn't know Buddy Lee Parker was the freaking Leprechaun at one time. I need to see one of those matches, but it didn't last long. I read about that or saw it somewhere. It did not last long. Robert Lee Parker said he was fine with it. I think you're gonna have like the Giant, and then Hulk Hogan comes in. I think the Giant is part of the Dungeon of Doom, but to take away his belt. The Taskmaster's Kevin Sullivan's he is the leader of that group. I don't know if Jimmy Hart was part of the Dungeon of Doom at one time. Probably not. I think Jimmy Hart becomes buddy and manager of Hulk Hogan at one time. Roddy Piper comes. Remember, it used to be Saturday night usually, but now the main show is Nitro, Monday Nitro. I used to watch Monday Nitro with. After that was some kind of Mortal Kombat, and then there was another one about Robin Hood or something like that. Some weird shows, and then they also had like not mixed martial arts, like Chinese fighting, Chinese movies. NWO comes and it's really cool. Starts off with Hollywood Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. Then they had Six, and then Vincent. They named him Vincent, but his name was Virgil WWE. They enter, and the infamous thing where Hulk Hogan's supposed to save somebody from a match, but no, he turns it back on him, and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall are there, and that's when the NWO is formed. Again, they bring Six, they bring in Virgil, they make a whole bunch of cast of NWO. Hogan has the belt. Nash and Scott Hall have faced the Steiners. They face Harlem Heat. I liked when the Steiners beat Hall and Nash for the belts, and then the next day they're gonna strip him of the belts. They're gonna come up with some excuse why the Steiners didn't win, but I think the Steiners beat him clean. Eric Bischoff is the main a-hole from the NWO. There's a lot of funny stuff, man. I know they brought even Pee Wee Anderson, a referee, bring his family to plead for his job. They had fired Pee Wee Anderson for some reason. Scott Steiner looked jacked, man. He had a lot of big muscles and everything. And then he colors his hair, and then he joins the NWO. That was really cool. I was like, who's that? This Big Pop. They call him Big Papa Pump. Scott Steiner. He comes in with a short. He colored his hair blonde or whatever, white. Goldberg starts coming in. He goes with a streak. He beats everybody. He goes all the way to 140 or something like that. But Kevin Nash beats his streak by cheating using some kind of cow taser thingy. Okay. The Horseman fight against NWO. I mean, it's a lot of good stuff, man. Sting turns into like a crow thingy. He says the fans don't trust him because he thought that there was like a replica Sting, a copycat Sting, and he beats up Lex Luger from a limousine. And Sting like, that's not me. People didn't trust him, and then Sting becomes like he's kind of like the crow. Now you have from Sting going from the blonde hair. Now he's gonna transition to the crow Sting column. And it's funny because there's a copycat Sting. The copycat Sting was copying him with a regular Sting with a blonde hair, or whatever. And then now that Sting turned into the crow kind of Sting kind of deal. This wrestler changes like him too, paints his face and has like trench coat. At one point, Sting had a crow, and I think it went all the way across the arena, or was something, and it landed on this thing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Goldberg wrestling Sting, pretty cool. Nobody wins the match, of course. Sting versus DDP. I'm sorry, Goldberg versus DDP. Goldberg pins DDP. There might have been a DDP versus Sting match, maybe. Don't remember. Steve Michael versus Goldberg. I mean, that was pretty cool. That was a good match, even though Michael doesn't know how to wrestle. He's new. Can't forget about the Luchadors. Rey Mysterio Jr., Chavo, Psychosis, La Parca. They would go against Chris Jericho. At one time, Chris Jericho took a lot of their masks away. He beat them, and they go hair versus mask. He beat them and take their mask. Can't forget about that. Conan, Disco Inferno. LWO, they were there. Chavo Guerrero made the LWO, then he left, and the NWO broke them up. And it just gets crazier, man. Roddy Piper comes, he beats Hollywood Hogan. The Ultimate Warrior comes versus Hulk Hogan. Crappy matches. Tag Abbott, mixed martial arts guy, comes in. Tag Abbott with 3 count, man. They were funny. They were hilarious. They danced together. Ain't nothing but a tag. Ain't nothing but a tag. 3 count would come out with little circles. They put them on the floor and start dancing. Oh, it was so funny, man. They fight against some kind of 3 dragons kind of deal. Some other. Later on, Jeff Jarrett comes. NWO's got already beaten Old Hat. Jeff Jarrett, I don't know how he feuds with Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious is way bigger than him. Millionaires Club with Hulk Hogan, whatever. And it's all fading out from there. And then there's the end. The end comes soon for WCW. And one of the matches, I remember Harlem Heat. I'm sorry, not Harlem. Booker T becomes WCW champion. He defeats Scott Steiner, I believe. And Ric Flair and Sting go at it one more time. Sting beats Flair. And that's it. I have to say about that. So, if you like talking about pro wrestling, all that, look at my videos. I done videos so far in the Great Muda, Lord Steven Ringo, and Arn Anderson. I will get to others. I'll probably do like Sting and Flair, Lex Luger, all that good stuff. You can find me at. You want to join my live stream on Top Wrestling? Get me at Pro Wrestling Classic. I think you'll enjoy talking to me because I will let you talk first. You viewers come first before me. I don't like to be prideful. I'll probably let you have, more likely, most of the time, I'll let you have the last word because it's not fair that I'm talking and you're just typing, right? But you type and I will read what you type. I guarantee it. If I don't read what you said, I just missed it. But you can type it again. That's what you have to say. And I hope we get a big audience and start talking some wrestling, man. Let's have a lot of fun because I go off what you guys say. I talk a lot, but I need you guys to talk too so I can go off what you say and we could have a good time and talk about wrestling and talk about the good old days. ECW, I don't care what organization. ECW, AEW, old WCW, old NWA Jim Crockett Promotions, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Florida Championship Wrestling, Mid Atlantic Championship. It goes on and on and on. And I hope I get to see you guys. So this is gonna be the end of my video for WCW, and I hope I talk to you about it, guys, soon. I hope you guys get my live stream. I hope you subscribe to the channel. And remember, it's at Pro Wrestling, Pro Classic Wrestling. And I hope you enjoy my live stream. I hope you see my videos. And so I'm gonna say I'm out. So as this is Alberto, aka Destroyer 48, aka Subscribe for Food. Ha ha ha. And I hope to see you in my live stream. I hope you see my videos and I hope you have a good time. Take care. Bye. Love you.